The Building and Evolution of the Mental Body by Annie Besant, read by Dave Marsland of Cardiff Theosophical Society. The Building and Evolution of the Mental Body. The method by which consciousness builds up its vehicles is one which should be clearly grasped, for every day and hour of life gives opportunity for its application to high ends. Waking or sleeping, we are ever building our mental bodies, for when consciousness vibrates, it affects the mind stuff surrounding it, and every quiver of consciousness, though it be due only to a passing thought, draws into the mental body some particles of mind stuff and shakes out other particles from it. So far as the vehicle, the body, is concerned, this is due to the vibration, but it should not be forgotten that the very essence of consciousness is to constantly identify itself with the not-self, and as constantly to reassert itself by rejecting the not-self. Consciousness consists of the alternating assertion and negation, I am this, I am not this. Hence its motion is, and causes in matter, the attracting and repelling that we call a vibration. The surrounding matter is also thrown into waves, thus serving as a medium for affecting other consciousnesses. Now, the fineness and coarseness of the matter thus appropriated depends on the quality of the vibration set up by the consciousness. Pure and lofty thoughts are composed of rapid vibrations and can only affect the rare and subtle grades of mind stuff. The coarse grades remain unaffected, being unable to vibrate at the necessary speed. When such a thought causes the mental body to vibrate, particles of the coarser matter are shaken out of the body, and their place is taken by particles of the finer grades, and thus better materials are built into the mental body. Similarly, base and evil thoughts draw into the mental body the coarser materials suitable for their own expression, and these materials repel and drive out the finer kinds. Thus, these vibrations of consciousness are ever shaking out one kind of matter and building in another, and it follows, as a necessary consequence, that according to the kind of matter we have built up in our mental bodies in the past, will be our power of responding to the thoughts which now reach us from outside. If our mental bodies are composed of fine materials, coarse and evil thoughts will meet with no response, and hence can inflict no injury, whereas if they are built up with gross materials, they will be affected by every evil passer-by, and will remain irresponsive to and unbenefited by the good. When we come into touch with one whose thoughts are lofty, his thought vibrations, playing on us, arouse vibrations of such matter in our mental bodies as is capable of responding, and these vibrations disturb and even shake out some of that which is too coarse to vibrate at his high rate of activity. The benefit we receive from him is thus largely dependent on our own past thinking and our understanding of him. Our responsiveness is conditioned by these. We cannot think for each other. He can only think his own thoughts, thus causing corresponding vibrations in the mind stuff around him, and these play upon us, setting up in our mental bodies sympathetic vibrations. These affect the consciousness. A thinker external to ourselves can only affect our consciousness by arousing these vibrations in our mental bodies. But immediate understanding does not always follow on the production of such vibrations caused from outside. Sometimes the effect resembles that of the sun and the rain and the earth on the seed that lies buried in the ground. There is no visible answer at first to the vibrations playing on the seed, but within there is a tiny quiver of the ensouling life, and that quiver will grow stronger and stronger day by day, till the evolving life bursts the seed shell and sends forth rootlet and growing point. So with the mind, the consciousness thrills faintly within itself, ere it is able to give any external answer to the impacts upon it. And when we are not yet capable of understanding a noble thinker, there is yet in us an unconscious quivering which is the forerunner of the conscious answer. We go away from a great presence a little nearer to the rich thought life flowing from it than we were ere we entered it, and germs of thought have been quickened in us, and our minds helped in their evolution. Something then in the building and evolution of our minds may be done from outside, but most must result from the activities of our own consciousness. And if we would have mental bodies which should be strong, well vitalized, active, able to grasp the loftier thoughts presented to us, then we must steadily work at right thinking, for we are our own builders and fashion our minds for ourselves. Many people are great readers. Now, reading does not build the mind, thought alone builds it. Reading is only valuable as it furnishes materials for thought. A man may read much, but his mental growth will be in proportion to the amount of thought that he expends in his reading. The value to him of the thought which he reads depends on the use he makes of it. Unless he takes up the thought and works on it himself, its value to him will be small and passing. Reading makes a full man, said Lord Bacon, and it is with the mind as with the body. Eating fills the stomach, but as the meat is useless to the body unless it is digested and assimilated, so also the mind may be filled by reading, but unless there is thought, there is no assimilation of what is read, and the mind does not grow thereby. Nay, it is likely to suffer from overloading, and to weaken rather than strengthen under a burden of unassimilated ideas. We should read less and think more if we would have our minds grow and our intelligence develop. If we are in earnest in the culture of our minds, we should daily spend an hour in the study of some serious and weighty book, and, reading for 5 minutes, we should think for 10, and so on through the hour. The usual way is to read quickly for the hour and then put the book away till the next hour comes for reading. Hence people grow very slowly in thought power. One of the most marked things in the Theosophical movement is the mental growth observable year by year in its members. This is largely due to the fact that they are taught the nature of thought. They begin to understand a little of its workings and set themselves to build their mental bodies instead of leaving them to grow by the unassisted process of nature. The student eager for growth should resolve that no day shall pass that shall not have in it at least 5 minutes reading and 10 minutes strenuous thinking on what is read. At first he will find the effort tiresome and laborious, and he will discover the weakness of his thinking power. This discovery marks his first step, for it is much to discover that one is unable to think hard and consecutively. People who cannot think, but who imagine that they can, do not make much progress. It is better to know one's weakness than to imagine oneself strong when one is feeble. The realization of the weakness, the wandering of the mind, the feeling of heat, confusion and fatigue which comes on in the brain after a prolonged effort to follow out a difficult line of thought, is on all fours with the similar feeling in the muscles after a strong muscular exertion. With regular and persistent but not excessive exercise, the thought power will grow as the muscle power grows. And as this thought power grows, it also comes under control and can be directed to definite ends. Without this thinking, the mental body will remain loosely formed and unorganized, and without gaining concentration, i.e. the power of fixing the thought on a definite point, thought power cannot be exercised at all.